None of these habits came from books or podcasts. They came from watching what multi-millionaires do behind the scenes. And I quietly started copying them. And the reason I even sit next to these multi-millionaires is because I'm a consultant. Some of my clients are multi-millionaires, and my mentors have run companies anywhere from $10+ million a year to $100+ million a year. I'm Gus, and I'm building a $1.2 million a year consulting business from scratch by helping other coaches and other consultants make more than $100,000 a month. So here are the habits I stole so that you can steal them too and change everything for yourself. Number one is they don't work more, they just make better decisions. One of them told me, I don't get paid for how much I do, I get paid for the quality of my decision making. What this means basically, and what I took from it is I actually now have control over my entire day. I don't want to be reactive, I have to be proactive. The way this works, I literally map out my entire day on Google Calendar. I map out what time do I wake up, when do I have breakfast, when do I go to the gym, and specifically what I'm working on for 90 minutes in the morning for my business. Because again, if I don't grow my business, I can't get more people in and I can't help more people. So think of this like my CEO time. At the early morning, because I'm in Europe, most of my clients, if not all my clients, are in the US, Latin America, etc. At the morning, when I'm awake, they're sleeping, so I get time to work on my business uninterrupted. This is what really successful people do. They just block their calendar for specific tasks they have to do for their business. So what I don't want you to do is just block out I need to work block on your calendar. Rather, I need to work on my business block, but make it very specific on specific things you need to be doing for your business that's building your business and moving the needle forward. Just be very specific. The thing here being is most people who are not at that level yet, they think of inputs equal outputs. And that's the very worst way of looking into it. Just because you're busy doesn't mean that you're actually making progress. Quality inputs lead to quality outputs. The way you have quality inputs is by being proactive, not reactive. Number two is their mornings are sacred. And most of the times they're selfish. The mornings are for them. Now, when I say this, I don't mean do a 4-hour long morning routine. I actually think that's very stupid. And don't also just have reactive morning routines where you wake up, the first thing you do is check Slack, check if you have messages, and you start the morning with your heart rate pumping. It doesn't have to be that way. Just make sure your mornings start with your non-negotiables. For me, it's gym, prayer, a quick snack so I can get my day going. And if I didn't journal the night before, I journal, meaning when I say journal, guys, it's not like woo-woo stuff. It's literally just what do I need to get done at the end of the day. One thing that I stole from, he's not my mentor, but I stole from Sam Ovens. I think he was the owner of consulting.com and the owner of school, is basically he takes out a very simple sheet of paper. He writes everything that he needs to get done that day in the morning, and he just goes at it. Very simple, and he's very successful, I guess. I feel like as us entrepreneurs, the mind is always going and it feels like a battlefield. If anything, the mornings, keep it sacred, keep it selfish, do your non-negotiables, get those things for yourself done at the early day, because your mornings in some way, they're kind of your armor and they do set the tone for the rest of the day. So for me, it's gym, prayer, and absolutely just get the things written down on paper of the things that I absolutely need to get done on that day. Number three is they track everything. Just like when you go to the gym, you track how much weight, how many reps, what exercises you're doing. You have to start tracking everything. You've heard this before. What gets measured gets improved. I track my sleep. I track some of my macros. I'm only tracking protein if I'm being 100% honest. And I'm tracking everything that I'm doing for my business right now. What I'm building requires for me to do a lot of output when it comes to content. And that's something that I have to track. Specifically for your business, if you don't have a dashboard, if you don't have a sales pipeline, if you don't have a client pipeline, a lead pipeline, if you don't know where your client health is at, if you don't have a pulse on your cash flow, if you don't have a pulse on close rates, show up rates, and all those things that I actually talk about in the link in the description below. It's a full-on video training on the whole systems and operations for businesses that I help. Actually go check that out. But if you don't have any of those trackings, then how do you know what needs to get improved? How do you know what bottleneck is keeping you back from growing? Like, that's just ridiculous. The one thing I actually told my CSM, we're now meeting every single month because I want to train her on becoming just better. One thing that I asked her to do is to share with me her calendar. And what I told her is every Sunday at night, just kind of put some placeholders for the week. Now, a lot of people, when they're more used to doing this, they actually plan out specific battle sessions for the day, meaning on Sunday, you sit down and you say, so Monday, this work block, just like I said before, this work block specifically for 5 YouTube videos. Then on Tuesday, I'm going to send them out for edit. Wednesday, I'm going to script out 3 more videos for next week. Thursday, I get the edits back. I do Q&A, which is quality assurance. Friday, I schedule those out. If you plan your week that way, it's like your battle plan, and you get to track what you're doing for the week. You get to plan what you're working on for your business. All in all, I'm just saying you have to track stuff. You need KPIs, you need dashboards, you need all those things. And you don't need to get fancy. Most of the dashboards I share with my clients, as you've seen that in that video training that I share with you down in the description below, they're all in Google Docs. It's super simple. Number 4 is they curate their energy like ninjas. They're not available to everyone, and they're not apologizing for it. One thing that I tell my clients is don't be afraid of saying no. When you're saying no, you're protecting your energy. And when you protect your energy, you're putting boundaries on your time, because your time is better spent working on things that you already know are gonna move the needle forward. So put boundaries on time, put boundaries on client filtering as well. So one thing I do on my calendar is actually I block out a piece on my calendar for client fulfillment. I'm not always reacting to every single message from my clients. I can't be. I have to be selfish, guys. Like, I also have to work on my business, not just work in my business. So I have a block in my calendar that's just specifically for client fulfillment. That's the block where I have my client calls. Because if I don't put boundaries on that, then I'm just basically going with the flow. And if you're going with the flow and you're not putting massive aggressive action on your business, then you're slowly destroying and killing your business, unfortunately. And with curating your energy as well, you just have to be very careful with your phone. Content detoxing, I have time limits on all of my apps. X, I have a 15-minute time limit. Instagram, I do spend a lot of time on Instagram because I'm posting, I'm documenting. It's 2 hours a day as well. And also, you have to make sure you create your energy from the things you consume. Please consume only good stuff, okay? And I want to pull just a little part of the Bible from Proverbs 4:23. It says, above all else, guard your heart. So be careful with the things that you're actually consuming. Number 5 millionaire habit is they're quiet students in every single room. One quote that I like here is, ego is silent. They ask questions, they write notes, they listen, they learn, and they just are very careful with how they speak. And one of the things I always hear is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. I remember one time Tanner Chittister invited me to his house in Miami, to his apartment, to go over my company. Even when I met with him, I had literally no offer. I was just an ad agency at the time. And obviously he's a very successful person, like extremely successful. I respect him. He's an incredible guy. And one of the things I did is I just shut up. I let him speak. He asked me questions about my business. I told him what I had at the time, which was not a lot if I'm being honest. And I sat down, I heard, I took notes, and I didn't speak. But I feel like a lot of people who are not experienced in the field, when they are met with somebody of higher status, they feel like they need to talk more, boast more, feed their ego more, because they kind of want to feel like they're there with them. You know, that's the worst thing you can do. Guys, if you're next to somebody who's very, very successful, shut up, you know. Lead with curiosity, lead with humility, and learn. Number 6, and this one was something that I personally struggle with. They are boringly consistent. You know, unfortunately, we are in an era where everyone's trying to aim for the shiniest funnel, the shiniest thing. And what I learned about these people is that success didn't come from hacks. It came from doing the same reps for years. And I hate this. I hate this in my guts, because I want it as bad as you want it. And it sucks because it takes time. One of my mentors, Paul Daly, he's extremely successful. And he's told me multiple times to just keep going at it, unfortunately. But that's what it is. And I shut up and I listen. The other thing, it's the same with fitness as well. Like, I box and I did jiu-jitsu for a while before I broke my rib. And you don't go from white belt to black belt in 5 years unless you're like a machine and you're training every single day. Most people take 8, 10, 12, 15 years to get to the maximum level. And even when you're in black belt, one of my professors from jiu-jitsu in black belt, he's still training and he still gets tapped out by other black belts who's been in the game for more and more time than him. So business success comes from habits that you just compound over and over and over time. And I had to take this advice for myself, unfortunately. Most people that crash and burn in business, and I've seen this with previous clients, is they want to pivot because they just want to get something else, something newer, when they should just double down, put their head down and just work. So they're boringly consistent. And lastly, this is something I respect tremendously from one of my mentors, Paul. If you're watching this, I love you, bro. Is they protect their spiritual clarity. Behind closed doors, there's very successful people. Some don't speak about it. For certain, I should speak more about this, but behind closed doors, prayer, purpose, gratitude, and the fear of God is very real. You know, today we had a Bible study with Paul, actually, and it's a moment of time where all of us founders were just, you know, very open and honest about our vulnerabilities, about our lows, about our highs, and this is something that fortunately and unfortunately, you have to find time for. You have to find time to be still, to be in silence, and to be in prayer, to speak with God, literally. And it's tough. One of the things I shared today in the Bible study was that I need to find time to be with internal stillness. And sometimes, and I've seen where people go through the spirits of like stillness, then you see it. Then you see how they are dominant externally. So internal stillness, I feel like equals external dominance, and that's something that I need to work on more. Because through stillness, through speaking with God, you understand that, as Proverbs 9:10 says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And this is something that I found on the most successful people, is they protect the spiritual clarity. And something that I'm seeing more and more, which I'm super proud of. There's this guy, I forget his name, I think it's School of Greatness, and maybe not. This guy that goes around on TikTok just interviewing billionaires and millionaires. I love how most of these people always say God first.
I more than believe in God. I trust God.
How important has faith been for you throughout your career?
It's the most important thing in my life.
And they are very successful for some reasons. And if there's something that you can steal from them is, you know, protect your spiritual clarity. So those are the 7 habits I've been stealing from multi-millionaires and mentors, and I hope you got something from it. Now, when it comes to time tracking, morning routines, working and making better decisions for your business, like I said, down below, I'll leave a video training that I really want you to watch. That's going to give you the 3 main areas that you need to be working on your business and you need to master. If you're stuck between 30K and 100K a month, this is going to give you the key to unlock the success you really want to. Because selfishly, these are things my clients have copied and they've gotten $1 million months and become very, very successful in the industry. So leave it down below. For now, I'll see you in the next one.